This thing's had a hard life. 2017, if you can believe it. It's all sun faded. Muffler's broke. Let's see what we can do with it here. That's a 2017, believe it or not. Pretty beat up. We have Chainsaw Girl replacing a muffler on a 372. Alright, take brand new shiny muffler. An old beat up saw.
We are currently installing a new muffler on a 372. This is an aftermarket muffler. That's why it's a little shinier than the others. We got a new gasket that we're installing along with new cylinder or muffler bolts into the cylinder. This old muffler was pretty messed up. We had let the muffler bolts back their way out, which then actually vibrated so bad it broke his muffler. So aftermarket, okay to use, don't have a problem with it. But if you're having this done at any dealer, we will stand behind the OEM product under warranty, but not any sort of aftermarket. And the customer was made aware of this. And he did choose the aftermarket option.
Cheaper?
It is cheaper. It's about half the price. An OEM muffler for Husqvarna runs about $67. This one runs about $35. This is the Forester brand.
Sorry if the video is shaky, guys. This is shooting this on a cell phone.
So we were fortunate enough to be able to, whoops, I'm famous for dropping stuff. I keep magnets on my bench for that reason. We were able to reuse his bracket, but you need to check these very close for cracks if you are going to reuse an old one. They tend to get hairline cracks where it bolts into the case. And if you don't have it bolted down to your case, you're going to end up with the same problem as he did here of the vibration causing it to break. And for anybody who is watching, yes, I should have my hair pulled back. It's a little early in the day for me to remember that part yet. But I have not started the sauce, so I am still in the safe zone. One thing to remember on these is you should always torque your muffler bolts down. If you don't torque them down, you're going to be back in just a little bit with another busted muffler. And I spoiled myself. I have a digital torque wrench. Sometimes you just have to have fun toys. So this required torque runs 12 to 14. We're going to take it to 13. And that's for the bolts into your cylinder. And then into the muffler and the case are actually 8 to 10, so we'll take it to 9. Cool thing about the digital is all I have to do is watch the lights. I don't have to be bent down sideways trying to look at the numbers. It tells me almost there. Whoops, I was a little too strong that day. Like that. Not a big deal. Oop. Apparently my torque wrench is going to have a temper tantrum today. Since it's acting up like this, the beauty of it saying snap on, I will hand it to my guy on Friday and say, hey, she's not working right. I'm just going to go back and check those muffler to cylinder bolts one more time, just to make sure we didn't loosen anything when we tightened down those other mount bolts. Don't get too freaked out if you over torque it a little bit. That's why they have a range on them. Alright, so that is putting a new muffler on.
I'm just going to finish throwing her back together and we'll fire it up for you.
to attempt to fire it up for you. We don't know what kind of condition the rest of the saw is in. But we will find out here momentarily.
Again, apologize for all the shaking. I'm shooting this on a cell phone.
And as it goes, when it comes in for something simple, I always find something that the customer hasn't mentioned. In this case, we have a random fuel line that's just hanging out, not hooked up to anything. So we're going to take a quick look and see where she's supposed to go. See, this guy's just hanging out here, not supposed to be right there. This saw hasn't particularly been maintained as well as it should be. Alright, so this guy is actually our vent line, which is why he hasn't really noticed much of a problem with it. But we actually have a broken fuel line. Oh, nope, I lied. It's just really dirty. We're going to see if we can get this kind of going back where she needs to be. Alright guys, we are back and we are still working with this vent line that has been a little bit of a troublesome little monster for me. So we had to find the correct piece that was missing, which we did, which is this little guy right here. So I am going to struggle a little bit to get this put back where it's supposed to be without having to completely dismantle the saw. And something like this is just not quite doing the general maintenance that you should on your saws. You know, cleaning them up, blowing them off. Doesn't take much. Knocking your air filter out. Because if he had knocked his air filter out, then he would have caught that he had a line just spinning around in there, not doing anything. We're gonna cross our fingers that this pops right back down where it's supposed to be. And it does. Yay. You guys must be good luck. Usually I'd struggle for about 10 minutes with that and teach y'all some pretty cool words. All right, so another thing we found missing was, one of his handle bolts are missing. Again, just looking at your saw, checking it out. You would have caught that. So something to remember, guys, if you're pulling a saw apart and you got threads that look like that, they're wide apart, those are plastic threads. It means you're taking a metal screw and you're throwing it down through plastic. Make sure you countersink that until you feel it drop down into the threads that are already made. Because if you cut new threads, you got a problem. She is not going to stay. Well, it might when you thread it back down, but when you pull it back out, it's not going back in. Then you start trying to find, well, any old size bolt that's going to go down in there and hold. And let me tell you, that's sketchy to do with a saw. Because you're cutting a tree and you're trying to get out of the way and you have a handle that breaks free. That's just asking for a disaster. So I'm going to throw a bolt I had laying around here in for this customer. Maybe. These require patience. They don't always want to pop back into those. Oh, and there's the drops again. They don't always want to pop back into the threads like they're supposed to. See that better like this one. Nope, I must have guessed my size wrong, so we're gonna actually have to go get the actual bolt that goes down in there. But I'm not gonna make you guys wait while I go track that down. So we're gonna get this put back together here. And we're gonna tighten that chain back down because that's a lot of loose. We shall see. The little noises that drive you crazy. So this, guys, not a great air filter. This needs to be knocked out. Probably replaced from the condition it's in. I mean, he's lucky. There's not a lot of dirt down inside yet. There's not a lot of dirt down in his intake, other than those few little pieces I knocked in there. So we're gonna put his old one back on, but I'm gonna definitely recommend to him that he take a little bit of time and do a little maintenance on his saw. I don't have his permission to actually go through and start replacing stuff. So we're gonna tighten this. Oop. Maybe I'm gonna tighten this down. And then we're going to see what kind of fuel he actually uses. If it fires right up, either it's a fresh batch of 87 or he uses good old non-ethanol mix. So we're about to find out here. And we have found it's always a good idea to check the color mix that comes in. You see that kind of has that blue tint. There's no tint to it. It's for one of two reasons. They are running the steel full synthetic yellow mix, which only tints the fuel a little bit, or they forgot to mix their fuel, which means this saw would make one very lovely noise when we go to start it and run it. And that will be lovely until you hear the clunk and you go, uh-oh. I'm gonna pull my hair back here real quick. And yes, I keep this big cup of pens here, not for writing, but to pull my hair back. All right, guys. We did our job. It doesn't sound like a freight train coming down the road. So I'm going to go track down another one of those handle bolts and we're going to get that put in there for the customer. And that is how you put a muffler on a 372 and then fix all the other little problems. See you guys later.